Hello class. Today for our social studies lesson, we are going to be learning about landforms. So does anyone have an idea what a landform is before we begin our lesson? You may have some background knowledge on what a landform is. You may have heard about it before, or you may just think you know. So does anyone want to raise their hand and give us an idea of what you think a landform is? Okay, Jack, what do you think a landform is? Okay, so you think it's different types of land? Okay, does anyone else have an idea they want to share? No? Well, that's okay. We may not have a lot of knowledge about landforms just yet, but we will have knowledge about landforms by the end of this lesson. So Jack said he thinks landforms are different types of land. So he is not completely wrong. There are different types of landforms. So to begin our lesson, we will talk about landforms after we watch a introduction video that tells us exactly what landforms are, and it will go into detail about the different types of landforms that we will talk about today and use later on in our lesson. So let's start with our video.
Hello, friends. Today we'll learn about types of landforms. But before jumping on to the topic, let me tell you what a landform is. Let's go, buddy. See, land is not plain. It has many different forms known as landforms. Each type of landform is defined by its shape, size, location, and what it's made of. Erosion by wind and water can wear down land and form landforms like canyons and valleys. Guys, look at this carefully. Tectonic plate movement under the Earth's surface can create landforms by pushing up mountains and hills. The different major landforms are mountains, hills, valleys, desert, plains, and plateaus. Let's learn about them one by one. Mountains. These are landforms higher than the surrounding areas. They're formed due to the tectonic movements, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and erosion of the surrounding area caused due to wind, ice, and water. There are mainly three types of mountains. Fold mountains. The Himalaya is built like this. Fault block mountains, examples include the Sierra Nevada mountains. And dome mountains. Black Hills of South Dakota is an example of dome mountain. Hills. Hills are lower than mountains that are higher than their surrounding areas. Hills occur on every continent in a variety of environments. They're usually covered with grass and make perfect tourist destinations. Valleys. Valleys are low-lying areas of land between hills and mountains that are formed due to the actions of rivers and glaciers over millions of years. They're classified as V-shaped valleys and U-shaped valleys. V-shaped valleys are formed by the flowing rivers. The U-shaped valleys are formed due to glaciers. Desert. A desert landform is a place that gets little to no rain. The climate can be either hot or cool, and sometimes both. It seems that travel is thirsty. Each desert landform has one thing in common. It has less than 10 inches of rain per year. Generally, deserts have a lot of rain because they're flat and have no or less vegetation to block out the rain. Plains. Plains are flat due to low relief areas on the surface of the earth. It might be formed as a result of the sedimentation of eroded soil from the top of the hills and mountains. Or might be due to flowing lava deposited by the agents of wind, water, and ice. Plateaus. Plateaus are flat highlands that are detached or separated from the surroundings due to steep slopes. They're formed by collisions of tectonic plates and magma action that causes the innovation of Earth's crust.
Okay, so after watching that video, Jack was right. There are different types of landforms. So we talked about a few during that video. Can anyone raise your hand and tell me a type of landform that was mentioned in our video? Okay, Callie, what type of landform did you hear? Mountains, good. Yes, mountains were mentioned. Anyone else want to name a landform? Okay, what about you? Good, valleys, good job. Does anyone else raise your hand? Okay, hills, yes. Anybody else got any they remember from the video that has not been named yet? We've named mountains, hills, and valleys. Okay, so let's go on and complete this worksheet together. So it showed us what landforms look like and the different types of landforms. So I'm going to hand out a worksheet and you're going to get with your partner and you and your partner are going to work together to circle all of the landforms that are on the sheet. Now, you need to pay close attention because there are pictures that are not landforms. So make sure you are only circling pictures of landforms. All right, get with your partner, complete the activity, and we will move on. Okay, good job. So let's raise your hand and tell me something that you circled on your sheet out of your group. Okay, what was your group by? What was one thing you circled? You circled a mountain. Okay, does everyone see the mountain on your worksheet? Did everyone circle that? Good job. Does anyone else want to name something that they circled? Okay, Lakin, what did you circle? You circled a valley. Good. Anyone else? Okay, what did you circle? You circled a plateau. Good job. That's a hard one to say, but you did a good job. So yes, plateau was a type of landform we learned about. So we're going to move on with our lesson. So you're going to turn and talk to your partner. We've talked about different types of landforms. So now I want you to turn and talk to your partner about a time where you may have had an experience with one of these landforms. So a hill, a valley, a plateau, a mountain, something that you think you may have done outside with your family, your friends, your siblings, that you might have done that involve one of these landforms. So take some time, talk to your partner, see if you can think of a time when you did something that involved one of these landforms. Okay, good job. Who wants to come and tell the class about a time that you experienced one of these landforms? Okay, Jane, you can come up here. Tell the class about your experience with a landform. Good job. So Jane said she went to the Rocky Mountains one time. So her family took a trip and they went to see the Rocky Mountains. Some of you may have seen the Smoky Mountains in Gatlinburg. Raise your hand if you think you've been on vacation to Gatlinburg. Yeah, so some of us have been to Gatlinburg and we got to see the Smoky Mountains. Did anyone else have an experience with a landform that they want to share? Okay, Skylar. Good. So Skylar said that he rolled down a hill with his brother. So yeah, that's an experience that he had on a landform. Okay, so next we are going to look at these pictures on the board. I want you to look and see which ones of these that are on the board are some landforms we talked about. Who wants to come to the board and point out the mountains? Okay, you can come up here, Jake. So Jake, can you touch the mountains for me? Good job. So Jake touched the mountains. So everyone get a good look. So are those mountains taller than the hills? Yes, mountains are much larger than hills. Mountains are the biggest landform that will be around. So there's not going to be a landform that will be higher than mountains. Okay, who wants to come touch the plateau? This might be a tricky one. Okay, Lacey, you can come to the board. Lacey, can you touch the plateau? Which one do you think is the plateau? Great job, Lacey. So does everyone see this, what Lacey picked? What does this remind you of? I want you to look at this picture, and what do you think? Do you think that is in a cold place or a really hot place? Yeah, it's in a hot place, so like a desert. So deserts are really hot. There's not a lot of trees growing. It's just sandy and rocky. So good job, Lacey. Okay, next. I'm going to put this graphic organizer that I created for you to look back at as a reference when you're working on your activity that we're about to begin. I want us to look up here. These are the 6 landforms that we're going to focus on. So we have mountains, plains, which is just a flat, grassy area, valleys. You see how these arrows are pointing down in between the mountains? So that's the land at the bottom of the mountain. Then deserts, see the sun shining, cactus. It's really, really hot there. Hills, so you see the hills. They're not quite as tall as the mountains, but they are raised and a little bit higher than the plain would be. And then last, our plateau. So it looks like a desert. You see there's a little cactus because it's hot, rocky, sandy. Okay, so I'm going to leave this up here, and you can come look at it if you need to. Look back and kind of see what your landform looks like. So when we begin this activity, I'm going to give you instructions on what we are going to do. So we're going to be making our own landform creation. So I'm going to display some models on the board. You can look at these pictures. So here are some pictures of models of landforms that people decided to do. So I'm going to provide you with all the materials you will need. We're going to go up by each group to go get their materials they need to make their landform. So to begin your landform, everyone will get a cooking sheet, like a baking sheet, and that's what you will build your landform on. You will have Play-Doh, blue icing, green icing, paper, construction paper of all different colors, whatever you want to use. You will have modeling clay to form whatever landform you choose to create. You will have colored pencils, crayons, and markers if you need to color anything. You will have cotton balls if you might need that for whatever landform that you're making. So I want you to take a minute, and before we come up here to grab our materials, I want you to look at these 6 landforms that I have up here on our reference chart, and you decide which landform are you going to make. Okay, so take a moment to do that. Okay, good. Everyone has their landform in mind. So I'm going to let table 1, you come up first and you get your cooking sheet. I will hand you a cooking sheet and you get the materials that you need to make your landform. So table 1, go ahead and come up. Okay, table 2. Table 3. And table 4. Awesome. Okay, so now we all have our materials that we will need to build our landforms. I will walk around and I will be there for you if you have any questions or you might be stuck on how to build something. Just raise your hand. I'll come to you. I'll walk you through it. You can also work with your partners at your table. Make sure we're working together and helping each other if anyone is stuck on something. And at the end of this activity, when everyone has finished their landforms, we will take volunteers to present their landforms to the class. And then we will extend this lesson by picking out landforms and bodies of water on a map. So after we've got all this finished, we will move on and locate on a map what is a landform and what is a body of water. Okay, so everyone get to work and work on creating your landform.